they totally reject the idea that a right is something that's given from God, because a lot of them don't believe in God, but there are people, libertarians who are atheists or agnostics. But we all tend to agree, conservatives and libertarians agree, that a right is something that is inalienable, that I can use and exercise my right without impinging on anybody else. All of the things that you were talking about, though, and we're talking with Bill O'Brien, Speaker of the New Hampshire House, who I am still proud to say that we endorsed you for the speakership 2 years ago, sending some shockwaves through the establishment. And yes, we are endorsing you for speakership yet again.
And once again, I'll get back at you for that. This will not be forgotten.
Yeah, sometimes it's one of those, be careful for what you wish for. But here's something that's developing at the grassroots, and it's in New Hampshire, and it's actually all over the state all at once. It's one of those federal mandates that's coming through. I don't know whether or not you are aware of it or only very formally. It goes back to rights. Now it's common rights. And one of the things that we've gone after, we've launched a new set of right-to-know requests. Here we go, GraniteGrok's going crazy again, against the Water Sustainability Commission, which was set up by Governor Lynch as an executive order. And when we started to look into this as a tangential thing about the Sustainable Communities Initiative, which are mandates or zoning changes that are being pushed by the federal government in terms of EPA, Department of Transportation, and HUD, Housing and Urban Development. We're trying to push the idea of, well, we'll give you some money, and we want you to change your zoning, or we'll help you do a scenic bypass, or a highway this, or a highway that. And there's a couple of activists who said, okay, this is non-binding, well, let's look at the next thing, and they've issued their own right to know. And it's insidious because it's starting to say, we're going to take, here in New Hampshire, we're going to condense the rural areas to suburbia, and we can then take suburbia and annex it into the states. We all thought this was environmentalism. We've got this water commission making noise and using words that make it sound, water is not your personal property under the property that you have. Why? It belongs to all of us. Therefore, the state should control it. We're seeing also these zoning issues trying to override all of this stuff. And here's the point that I'm going to ask you about. There are 10 regional planning commissions through all of this that is being funded. The feds are dealing with these planning commissions and acting as a Congress. There's some people who say, okay, all right, that's kind of what we do. But it's insidious in that the local towns can't. There's a lot that we cannot do. For instance, we wanted a stoplight in Guilford. I was told by our DPW head, we cannot go to DOT directly. We have to go through this planning commission, which started off as transportation. Now they do economic development. They even do broadband deployment. You really think that my DPW director is smarter and nicer guy as he is, knows more about broadband than I do? And they've taken on all these things, and it's like another unaccountable, unelectable, unreachable, and unassailable fourth level of government here in New Hampshire. And the feds are using them, taking the true believers to say, here's what's going on. Let me give you an example. As part of this condensation of zoning, especially if you're on the balcony, go outside this, you're going to get taxed. You can do what you want, but we're going to tax you higher. One planning member tried to put Brookfield's going to have a center town. And kept on, we'll offer to do the map, but they kept putting the center on. The selectmen and the planning commissions there said, we don't have a center of town, take it off. Okay, I'll go take it off. Now something new comes in, the map comes back, there's a center of town. Because everything's built around high density living, mixed use land, you're a walkable community, and oh, by the way, you won't need your cars because we'll provide public transportation. And there are several towns and several communities that are taking the bribe money, and I call it that. Free money, because everybody's looking for money. Well, we'll take it for now. And there's been incidences out west where once the town's figured out what the heck's going on, they're saying, we don't want to do this anymore. The feds will sue to enforce that. Now, is that something that you've heard about at this point?
It is. I've talked to Representative Cartwright about it. I've talked to Senator about it.
Okay.
And a number of others, and we're concerned about it. I've asked them to think about legislative solutions to it. One certainly occurs to me, which is to take away the right of these planning commissions to contract with the federal government. Because again, not again, but let me remind your view is New Hampshire's not a home rule state. It's not a state that the political subdivisions exist in the Constitution. They exist because the legislature allows them to, sets them up, and then defines their powers. I don't think, from what my understanding is, that these 10 planning commissions were ever given the latitude to do this. But we're going to look into what they're doing and make it clear that they can't become this hidden level of government. You know, we see it in other areas too. Just let me reference something else that's going on. Among the states that have sales taxes, there is this movement to go to the federal government to set up a sort of layer of government that all states will have to obey, that will require the interstate collection of sales taxes.
Correct.
And you've probably come across this. I will note that one of the prime sponsors of this is the NCSL, National Conference of State Legislatures. What's very disappointing about that is that the current president of it, as of this summer, is the Democratic leader of the House, Representative Morell. So she's down over in Chicago as we speak, promoting
Forgive me, I hope to change where I got that.
that require New Hampshire businesses to collect sales taxes from other states.
Yeah, and I have to laugh because I've known about this. Basically, it's a leftist organization that's the opposite of that, which was a free market-oriented organization which has come under attack by the true left believers, usually pushed by the Color of Change organization started by Van Jones and a few other organizations that have come up just to separate ALEC from its funding. And, you know, we've talked before with other folks. If the right doesn't like what the left is doing, we say, just leave us alone, go do what you want and all of that. When the left says the right's doing something, it isn't a case of just leaving it alone. They want to destroy it. And in essence, what they're trying to do is move this MCLC group totally alone as the only organization in state legislators and just put it down out of business.
Well, in point of fact, they wrote to me and asked me to send a delegation this year, which I guess is something that has occurred in the past. And I wrote back to them and they wanted me to attend as well because they want all the state legislative leaders there. I said, one, I'm not attending. Two, I'm not sending a delegation. I'm very disappointed that when the time came, you didn't defend ALEC because ALEC was being attacked for doing exactly what you, NCSL, National Conference of State Legislators, do, which is to meet and recommend state legislative approaches. The only difference between ALEC, there's only two differences. One is NCSL likes big, robust government solutions. ALEC looks for free market solutions. The only other crucial difference is that ALEC is supported by private and business donations, and NCSL gets federal and state money. New Hampshire has been paying $125,000 a year in dues to NCSL.
Really?
And that's something that was in the budget that I inherited, but the budget that we're going to be putting forward will eliminate that. And I've been hesitant to do it, Skip, because people will look at it and say, oh, well, this is, you know, because the current Democratic leader is the president of NCSL. I'm willing to take that hit because we do not pay dues to any other organization. There's no reason for us to pay dues to what is essentially a leftist organization just because it's been done in the past. Now, one other kind of little item of color here is that they contacted me and said, will you make a recommendation to the Speaker of the State House of Representatives for someone to receive our premier legislative award this year. The award is called the Billy Bulger Award, named after, as we understand, the Senate president, former Senate president in Massachusetts. I have to tell you that I wrote to them and said, I'm sorry, I will not insult one of my colleagues by recommending them for the award.
I could think of them, but it wouldn't be exactly an honorific award.
There's some that might be appropriate.
Now I can think of more than a few. And what Speaker O'Brien is talking about, Billy Bulger was a longtime Massachusetts Senate president who basically ruled the state of Massachusetts legislature, even being more powerful than the governors who would sit there. Nothing got approved without him wanting it. Nothing got spent without sometimes him getting a cut of it. He then went on to do the normal legislative perk out. He became a well overpaid president head of UMass at UMass Amherst, and now he's finally settled in business 4 times retirement fund, triple dipping, quadruple dipping, the whole bit. And it's, you know, I came from Massachusetts. The fact that you even said that name, it's been a long time since I lived in Massachusetts, but I remember going to school when he was Senate president, and all those machinations. Folks, Massachusetts, I think the last 5 House leaders have all ended up at the same address. I think I found a podcast.
Well, you know, I think it tells you all you need to know about NCSL, and it tells you all you need to know about the mendacity of the opposition we deal with, that they would be supporting an organization that would assume that an award named after Senator Bulger, Senate President Bulger, would be their premier award. And the fact that Representative Norelli, heading up that type of an organization, had the audacity to criticize Alec as she did on TV and writing articles and letters and so forth to the press, tells you all you need to know about the opposition we're facing in this election.
I've got to take a couple of notes here. Billy Bulger. Oh my. I may have a contest on GraniteGrok to say, okay, Speaker O'Brien may not award it, but we can do it by proxy. Pick someone.
I have to fault it on that. It's your choice.
You do have an election coming up. You have to be able to first seat back from Mount Vernon. Freedom, right?
New Boston. Mount Vernon.
It's changed a little bit.
Yeah.
So you have to get past that hurdle first, and then there may be others who want to say, I could be smart. What are your chances of winning the first and then winning the second?
I think they're fairly good. You know, we've been out there campaigning in my district. It's a district that I think is attentive to what we've done and supportive of what we've done. But you know, each of the voters there has the right to be asked again to vote for me. They have the right to an explanation of exactly what we've done. I'm optimistic. In terms of being elected Speaker again, I've been honored by quite a bit of support coming out of the existing state representatives as well as those candidates who were recruited to run as Republican members. You know, Gene Chandler, for example, was he and I were the main contestants for the last nomination for Speaker out of the Republican caucus. He is one of the state co-chairmen of my Speakers Committee this time, as is a number of other good representatives. You know, Representative Tamburello is, Representative Reynolds is, and a couple of others. So I think it's good support. We're looking forward to having a really dynamic session.
I have to interrupt you just for a second. Adam's coming around. He's sort of the project manager of Radio Row here. We are live casting from Radio Row here at, and I think we have to leave here because somebody else has to come in here next, correct?
We can set them up on 2, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
by the way, this is, I want to introduce you. Adam Nicholson is with AFP. This is William O'Brien, Speaker of the New Hampshire House.
Oh, great.
So and he is a great interview for anybody along here. I don't know what your schedule is.
I have to be downtown in about a half hour.
Okay, but are you going to be coming back?
I will be.
And will you be here tomorrow?
Now I'm leaving at 10 o'clock tonight back to Manchester because I have a keynote speaker at the Stratford County Annual Picnic tomorrow morning.
But if you can, he's a great free market, limited government person. He has done wonders in the House of New Hampshire and done wonders for the citizens of New Hampshire. Get him in front of somebody.
You know, Representative, if you want to come back after you come back here, come to Radio Row, it's busy, but I'll be glad to try to push you wherever we can.
That'd be great. I'll make sure that...
We basically, you can see, starting at 3 o'clock on down, we have a whole bunch of hosts coming in, so running until, 5-ish. So come on back in, and I will, if there's openings, I can't promise anything, but if there are openings, and there should be, you can, feel free to get some.
I'll jump in. I appreciate that.
Adam, just as a hook, tell him he's the only speaker in the country that cut the state budget by 18%.
Well, there we go.
We did do that. So we're glad to talk about that.
No, that's excellent. Here's my card for you, so you have my information. Including my cell phone, which is the way to reach me today, obviously.
And folks, bear with us as we're doing a little bit of stuff. The time is limited. We oftentimes have to do stuff on the fly. But I know you have to go. And Speaker of the House, Speaker of the New Hampshire House, Bill O'Brien, I want to say,
we good?
Thanks for taking a lot of time with GraniteGrok.
We'll see you back up there in the Granite State.
Yeah, as long as the check light on the engine the Grok car makes me home in time to rest assured. So we'll see. But enjoy your meeting and look forward to seeing you wandering the halls here. I know that there's a new person running out of Alton, Jane Cormier. Yes. She's already said that she's going to be supporting your speech.
She's great. I've met her, and there's a lot of good candidates like her running. So, we should have a good election, and we're going to have a good session next time.
Excellent. Well, take care, sir, and we'll meet you along the campaign trail.
Thanks.
GrokTV.